Now, let's join ace broadcaster Mamode Akuga as he takes us inside the Niger Delta.
Hello out there and welcome to the program. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. I'm your regular host, Mamode Akuga. In this edition of the program, we'll bring you trending issues of politics and development in the Niger Delta region. Our first port of call is Delta State, where infrastructure and public schools are rotting away and are incomplete on account of the state government's negligence. Next on our lineup is a report detailing the Public Program Index of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. The NDDC was, of course, established nearly 2 decades ago to intervene in the crisis of underdevelopment rocking the Niger Delta region. The attempt by Belemaoil Producing Limited, an indigenous exploration and production oil giant, to offer the people a new lease of life received a major boost when the federal government approved the establishment of an oil terminal for the company in the oil-rich Kula Kingdom. The oil terminal, which is expected to create about 10,000 jobs, is the focus of our next report. And finally on the program, we'll bring you an update on the legal battle between Rivers State Governor Wike and the candidate of the African Action Congress in the 2019 governorship election in Rivers State, Biokpamabo Awara. Today's package is, as usual, penetrating and incisive. I can only urge you to stay tuned for more details, as Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region, will be back in just a moment. Don't go away.
Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, determined to make a difference.
Welcome back. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. Barely months after it was widely criticized for the squalid state of Okotiebo Primary School, which became public notice after the brave young Miss Success Adego was sent home for failing to pay an illegal levy, the state government is again found wanting over its neglect of the educational system in the oil-rich Delta State and its encouragement of open defecation in its schools. Even when some of its schools are renovated, the Delta State government does not consider it a priority to build toilet facilities in the schools. At Igbide Primary School in Isoko South local government area of Delta State, 325 pupils must defecate in the open, according to correspondent Chika Obodioze in this report.
Until the story of Little Success Adego went viral on social media, little or nothing was known in public domain about the extent of dilapidation at Okotiebo Primary School in Sapele, where she and several other pupils were compelled to learn in excruciating conditions. Following an unprecedented backlash trailing the inexplicable neglect of Okotiebo Primary School, the Delta State government had initiated a face-saving move to rehabilitate the school. It, however, appears there are still in existence many more shacks provided by the Delta State government as learning pastures for future leaders, and this is a fact that is easily buttressed with the current state of Igbide Primary School in Isoko South local government area of Delta State. The state government had in 2017 awarded a contract for the renovation of a block of 3 classrooms to give the school a facelift. In doing so, however, the contractor did not consider the need for a functional toilet system, compelling the pupils to engage in open defecation.
I used to toilet in bush. We used to stay in people's quarters to toilet.
We go to the bush. We want the toilet.
We complained about the toilet facility to superb when they came for supervision. That according to them, they say they are bringing the toilet at the fence. For the past 6 months, we have been calling, up to now no good reply. So our children used to go to the bush to go and pass physics, to go and defecate in people's farm around here. At times, they do pack them, bring cellophane and pack them inside the school premises for us. In the bush, we now clear a very small place for them. So here they go to inside the bush, very inside, very close to the forest. They go there and pass their physics. And we are afraid because of the situation of the country now, because of insecurity.
As it has been acknowledged globally, Open defecation is a major source of environmental pollution that equally poses serious threats to human health. This explains why the United Nations in Goal 6 of its Sustainable Development Goals set out to ensure the availability and sustainable management of water systems and sanitation. Now, the question is, where is Delta State in the concerted efforts to restore the dignity of global citizens? How can Delta State, which currently gets the lion's share of monthly federation allocations, justify an action that subjects its future leaders to untold indignity? Why would the Delta State government build or renovate a school without building toilet facilities? Is the Delta State government encouraging open defecation?
Someone somewhere has to be held responsible for the state of affairs with regards to the degradation and the horrible state of infrastructure of public schools in Delta State.
There is no gainsaying the fact that it has become expedient for the Delta State government to audit its schools and ensure the availability of all necessary infrastructure. Such a move is expected to restore public confidence in the educational system of Delta State.
Inside the Niger Delta.
And now to recent happenings. The Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) was established through an Act of Parliament in the year 2000 to promote rapid development and douse tension in the economically backward and politically volatile Niger Delta region. Over the years, the NDDC has come under severe criticism for its perceived non-performance, prompting calls on the federal government to appoint technocrats to manage its affairs to enable the commission deliver on its statutory mandate. In this report, correspondent Tekena Amufori takes a look at the rationale behind calls for technocrats to take over the management and administration of the NDDC.
The NDDC was established in 2000 shortly after Nigeria's transition to a democratic regime in 1999 to tackle infrastructural deficits and widespread poverty in the Niger Delta. To this end, the Commission was given a mandate to formulate policies and guidelines for the sustainable development of the Niger Delta area. As it is the standard practice for every government agency, the NDDC was mandated to function in accordance with set rules and regulations to check likely operational deficiencies in the system. Almost 2 decades after its existence, more Niger Deltans are beginning to probe into the activities of the NDDC to assess its impact on the lives of the ordinary people.
The aim of NDDC is to develop our land. But today, it's a sentimental ground where politicians are using it to compensate their boys and their sisters and all the rest. But that is not even the issue. The issue is NDDC has failed Niger Delta people.
Regardless of the fact that it was established through an act of parliament to address an age-long crisis of underdevelopment in the Niger Delta, the NDDC has operated in the fashion of a typical government agency, weighed down by many administrative shortcomings. As it has been alleged over the years, the Commission's contracting processes are fraught with fraudulent practices. For instance, contracts are reserved for sale to chains of buyers rather than have them advertised for bidding in the public domain.
They sell jobs in the NDDC. They collect 10% in the NDDC. What is happening now is even the emergency jobs that they are awarding, an already constructed job, an already constructed project. You call a man and give the man the contract of about 400 million, 500, 900 million naira to go and just scrape and resurface a road. Those are what we call fraudulent projects. Those emergency projects, those jobs that are even awarded do not meet the standard of an emergency. The procurement law tells you what should meet the standard of an emergency contract. It doesn't meet one. They are so eager to make money, they are eager to steal money. Within 3 months, you give somebody a contract, the person goes to site, within 2 weeks, the person is done, the person comes to the office and collect 900 million naira from you for doing what we ask you. People ask, what have they done? NDDC says that for you to run an asphalt on a road, their standard is 5 cm. I can mention plenty of roads for you. Go there and check. What they run is 2 cm. And they go there and collect multi-millions of naira. What is the essence of that? How does that enhance the development of our region?
The negative consequences of the Commission's fiscal responsibility are easily located in the number of its abandoned projects littered across the 9 states of the Niger Delta. In August last year, the Commission was compelled to cancel hundreds of non-performing projects worth about 200 billion naira for lack of funds to execute them.
But that is not enough. If you have given somebody money to do a job, you make sure you do it. If he doesn't do it, you should prosecute him. You prosecute him and make sure he refunds, the money back to the Commission.
The perceived non-performance of the NDDC is blamed on political interference by successive governments since it was established in 2000. While in principle the Commission was established to cater for the needs of the beleaguered Niger Delta communities, in reality, however, it has continued to serve as a conduit pipe to fund elections to the advantage of the ruling party of the day. With the exception of Dr. Godwin Omene, the Commission's pioneer managing director, and Dr. Christian Obo, who handed over to Dr. Mrs. Christy Ataku as acting managing director in August 2013, successive chief executives and board members of the NDDC had on different occasions resigned their appointment to contest elections in their respective states. They include one-time board chairman of the NDDC, Onyema Ugochukwu, Emmanuel Agwarawodo, Timi Alaibe, the late Pastor Pa Aginia, Dan Abia, and Insema Ekere.
The pattern is they just appoint a board that will just come, harvest for themselves, harvest for their friends, and make themselves richer. And at the end of the day, the Niger Delta people, continue to remain impoverished. So, build the necessary infrastructure that will stimulate growth in the Niger Delta. But we're not seeing the infrastructure.
Considering the weight of the task before the NDDC, which the career politicians have been unable to shoulder over the years, most Niger Deltans are calling on the federal government to reserve the position of a chief executive and other key appointments in the NDDC for non-partisan technocrats. This is with a view to injecting new blood into the system to bring about stronger leadership with a clear sense of purpose.
Politics has taken over the NDDC. What pervades in the NDDC is beyond human description. It is quite incomprehensible. There is gross impunity, gross corruption in the system. And I think that except something drastic is done, Niger Delta people may come back tomorrow to cry. We are asking that people that have the interests of the people should be appointed. We are asking that people that have the know-how should be given the opportunity to drive the affairs of the NDDC.
We need technocrats to be appointed into the management boards of NDDC so that we can have a stabilized NDDC. So we can have an NDDC that is being run by those that have the wherewithal to run agencies, by administrator and not by political patronages. That is the reason why we are having the challenges we are having. Because when you have a political patronage there, the man wants to return reports to his boss. Perhaps Mr. A appointed you. Through his power, you are there, so you want to do everything through him. You don't even have your own, decision to make.
The current management team of the NDDC is faced with the Herculean task of reinventing a commission that has failed to live up to the expectations of the Niger Delta region. Being an interim management, it is expected to reorganize the commission's processes and restore public confidence in the system in the shortest time possible. For its part, the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, which supervises the NDDC, is expected to get more proactive in its supervisory role to ensure that the administration of the NDDC is no longer business as usual. No less important is the oversight function of the National Assembly, which should be fully discharged to enthrone a culture of transparency and accountability in the NDDC. These measures have become imperative for obvious reasons. The NDDC, being the flagship of the federal government's intervention in the Niger Delta, cannot afford to continue to operate at variance with the objectives for which it was established almost 2 decades ago.
Inside the Niger Delta.
After several weeks of visiting polluted sites and interacting with impacted communities, the Bayelsa Oil and Environmental Commission of Inquiry recently met with a coalition of civil society groups in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa state capital, to give an update on its fact-finding mission. The commission, led by Dr. John Sentamu, the Archbishop of York, was on March 28 this year, inaugurated by Governor Henry Siriake Dixon, to determine the extent of environmental degradation in Bayelsa communities and make recommendations for possible remediation and compensation for affected host communities. This is a mandate the Commission has vowed to carry out independently and truthfully. The Commission further states that, although it was not oblivious of the fact that the transnational oil companies being investigated are powerful and ready to fight back, its anticipated report will definitely appeal to the conscience of humanity.
These companies are colonizers, and they don't really, in the long run, listen until those who've got a lot of investment in their companies begin to put pressure on them. So I am absolutely a man of hope, in fact, a prisoner of hope. And I won't see my job being done until I can actually see the behavior changes and that the expectation will be the same and the whole of the international community is reversed by what is going on in here.
The doors are closing on the sort of attention that needs to be paid internationally that can put pressure on the transnationals through their shareholders, through global public opinion, to address all of the things that have happened here since 1956.
Other members of the commission are former Ghanaian President John Kufuor, internationally renowned researchers on environment and law, as well as experts in diverse fields of human endeavor. The commission intends to take advantage of its expertise to turn out a truly comprehensive report.
We are reaching out to those who will give us added expertise that we need to make this fully comprehensive.
What this commission will add is, as its output, is that document that you can point to in advocacy that communities could use even in litigation, locally and internationally.
While the oil-impacted communities are said to be fully involved in the fact-finding mission of the Bayelsa Oil and Environmental Commission of Inquiry, several civil society groups have since passed a vote of confidence in the commission.
This commission that is set up by the governor is timely, and I want to say that one of the most important things that we really want this commission to come up is to come up with a health audit.
The Bayelsa Oil and Environmental Commission of Inquiry is expected to submit its final report to the Bayelsa state government before December this year.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Belemaoil Producing Limited recently achieved another milestone with the federal government's approval for its establishment of a floating storage and offloading oil terminal. The oil terminal, which will create about 10,000 jobs, will be sited in the oil-rich Kula Kingdom. While the management of Belemaoil has since expressed its profound appreciation of the federal government's approval, some close industry watchers are optimistic that it will transform the operation of the indigenous oil giant in OML 55.
The recent approval of a floating storage and offloading facility to be operated as an oil terminal in Kula by Belemaoil Producing Limited is generating positive reactions from diverse interest groups in the Niger Delta. Among such groups are professionals in the oil and gas industry who are optimistic that the federal government's gesture will expand Belemaoil's operational capacity and promote efficiency in crude oil production.
Whatever that is produced from water, crude oil and gas is separated at that same facility. Water treated and discharged at the sea. The gas also separated from the oil and then exported through the gas network, while the crude oil is stabilized and exported through seagoing vessels. So if Belemaoil Oil and Gas is capable of bringing in investors with the kind of reputation he has built over this period, he should increase his capacity, open his mind, bring in people with the right capability, bring in investors who are ready to invest in, and then continue to maintain a strong reputation.
Host communities to Belemaoil are equally excited about the anticipated oil terminal to be operated by the indigenous oil giant, which has provided them a new lease of life in less than 3 years of its operation. They include hundreds of youths that have been offered employment by Belemaoil.
Because of this surveillance job that I have, I've employed up to, like in my own crew, I've employed up to 30 persons, only my own crew, because of the job they are giving to me. So he is helping a lot of people in the community.
Belemaoil have done so great to employ and to empower the youths, which I am one of the beneficiaries. And it has also helped me to enhance the living of my family.
Women in Kula Kingdom in Oil Mill 55, currently operated by Belemaoil, have also been jubilating over the anticipated Belemaoil Terminal.
When we heard the news, President Muhammadu Awara signed the terminal for our son. So that immediately I heard the news. This is my sister now. My sister, get up. The things that we have this in now seeking for, God has provided for us. Immediately, I woke up and I fall down to her. Say, hey, because of the happiness. I fall down. I say, what do you say? Say, people are jubilating, they are drinking.
We are using this chance to even ask the president to sign OML 25 to Belemaoil so that it will better the people of Kula more.
For Belemaoil Producing Limited, the federal government's goodwill and support under the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari will further drive its mission, which is anchored on sustainable wealth creation and strategic partnerships with host communities. In furtherance of its objective to deliver value in hydrocarbon exploration and production in the Niger Delta, Belemaoil is currently developing an industrial estate at Robert Kiri, which is one of its oil fields in Oil Mill 55. The proposed industrial estate, covering a total area of 99,000 hectares, has provision for workers' accommodation, an airstrip, and modular refinery.
This is actually going to be the Belema Highlands. This is the Belema Island where the degradation unit is going to be there. We also have the security apartment there. We also have a tank farm for hydrocarbon. Products. And at the same time, we're also planning to bring up a biorefinery, a modular refinery to bring on board, so that this particular facility and the community, all the cities that will be developed along this axis can have access to petroleum products.
In less than 3 years of its operation of OML 55, Belemaoil has redefined the concept of corporate social responsibility with the initiation and execution of projects that have practically reduced poverty, strife, and insecurity in the communities. The company is optimistic that with a continued support and cooperation of government and the communities, it will be empowered to make more meaningful contributions to foster sustainable peace and development in the Niger Delta.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Candidate of the African Action Congress AAC in the 2019 governorship election in Rivers State, Biokpamabo Awara says he will consult his supporters and stakeholders over a possible withdrawal of his case in court, challenging the declaration of Governor Nyesom Wike winner of the March 9 governorship election in Rivers State. He gave the hint recently when members of the Supreme Council of Kula traditional rulers paid him a courtesy visit in Abuja.
The Supreme Council of Kula traditional rulers, led by its chairman King Kroma Amabibi Eleki and secretary King Bodilon Ekine Oko, recently paid a visit to the AAC governorship candidate Biokpamabo Awara in his Abuja residence. The visit by the custodians of tradition in Kula Kingdom was to prevail on their kinsman to withdraw his case against the declaration of Governor Nyesom Wike as winner of the March 9 governorship election in Rivers State.
You are a gift from God to Kula. We're proud of you. Anyhow, put your sword back and try your best to see that there is unity between Wike and you.
Let us work together with the present administration so that there will be peace, harmony, and unity in our River State.
Members of the Supreme Council of Kula traditional rulers observed that in the light of the peace and reconciliation moves initiated by Governor Wike, there was need for their son to mend fences with him and contribute to the development of River State. They urged the politician to demonstrate the courage and spirit of peaceful coexistence for which the people of Kula Kingdom are known by accepting the olive branch extended by Governor Wike.
Let's put a stop to what is going on and let us embrace the olive branch stretched out to us by the Executive Governor of Rivers State so that we can work together for the progress and development of our state.
The AAC candidate in the 2019 governorship election in Rivers State, while appreciating the wisdom of his guests, promised to respond to their demand after wide consultations with his supporters and political associates.
The message you're giving to me is a good one. Knowing well that you have brought peace to Kula, which is like a prototype of what you are preaching. You've given me a task. I have to consult and want to tell you that I will revert back to you after meeting all stakeholders that are involved in this. It is not just about me again. It's about Rivers people. We believe that God, who is the author of peace, will give Rivers State peace. And at the end of the whole thing, Rivers State will stand to be the beneficiary of the end product or the end result.
Mr. Biokpamabo Awara had gone to court to challenge the declaration of Governor Wike as winner of the March 9 election, alleging that it was a far cry from the collective will of the electorate.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Well, that's the size of our package in this edition of the program. Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region, will be back same time next week on this station. You can also follow us on our social media handles showing on your screen right now. Until then, I'm yours sincerely, Mahmoud Akuga, signing off on the program. Bye for now.